Hey, Troy with Native Oklahoma Bigfoot Research Organization. We're just outside of Cloudy, Oklahoma. You can come and camp and ride your ATVs on, a little over 1,000 acres. I was invited out here to do storytelling last year, and we were invited back this year, and we decided to take some people out last night up here on the property. It was very eventful. There's miles and miles and miles of trails, and we were right on top of this ridge right behind the camera, and it was about 8:30 at night, and we found a spot and parked where the roads kind of fork and go different directions, so you have plenty of places to move around. And we were seeing some eye shine, and some of us saw 3 sets of eye shine. And then we had some movement behind us. We had movement probably within 30 yards of the ATV. You could see the shadows, the movement. And we went to another location a little bit further along the ridge, and we parked. Some of us got out and was walking around, and we noticed again some movement in the woods near us. We were probably, maybe a half mile from where we were, between a quarter and a half mile from where we were, and me and another person were standing on one of these roads, and you saw a head, you saw the entire body. He or she was probably 20 yards from us, stepped right out from behind a big old cedar tree and crossed the road. That's one of the, how do you say it? That's probably the most clear I've seen in a long time, because you saw everything about him or her. Not very large, maybe 6 feet tall, maybe, but very, very. There was a lot of girth, very heavy, but you never hear it move. That's the interesting part. And then we have movement behind us in the woods. You can see where the top of the ridge is, and you have the sky behind it where you can see through the trees, and you can see them walking back there between the trees. And there was a few times that they would step out on the road in front of you, maybe not more than probably 40 yards. No more than 40 yards, but probably no less than 20 yards. Kind of hard to judge at night in the dark distances, So, very eventful. There were some noises in the middle of the night last night. It's a great place. We would just guess, at one point, we probably had 6 of them around us, due to the point where you could see one in the woods, and you can see the other one, and you can see eye shine. So they were around. They were around big time. I guess they were wondering what we were doing. Of course, like I said, I was here last year. They were doing the similar thing, but not quite as close in approaching. Last night it's been a while since I've seen them that close, and they were very close last night. It'll be interesting to see what happens tonight. Tonight we're doing storytelling. You'll be there for that. Ryan will video this event for tonight, and we'll try to take you all along with us tonight when we go riding.
cast from Chandler Park that Ryan and I cast. We have been looking at it and have determined that it looks very legit as far as width from the heel to the toe and from the sides. We have some discrepancies in it because here in the middle, you can see right through here, there's actually a footprint. That's a size 6 boot print. The naturalist there at the park was actually using her foot as an illustration to the size, a comparison for educational purposes. We've looked at it. It looks like the toe is pretty, it's actually flat here on the end where it had pulled or pushed off. This toe here looks very usual, look like it belongs. These 3 toes here, I think somebody may have taken their finger and pushed down in those just to show for educational purposes also. Overall, the footprint is inconclusive, but it does have a lot of the telltale signs of a authentic footprint.
That's new. That's new.
We were talking about rock structures and things on the way up here.
I mean, it was tiny rocks
Yeah.
that he had piled up when he buried the cat.
Right.
Maybe that tall. And like I said, when me and Vicky came out here the first time, it was dug up, and then it was a circle. And then when we came up the next time, we came up 3 days later, and it was a square around it, still dug up. But those are like the rocks they built the crosses with.
Mm-hmm.
But you can go across the fence line there, and follow those trails out there, and it drops off back there. So
Any trails going that way?
I haven't went that way yet. So.
Y'all want to walk that way? And
But this is like, it's never been this way.
The rock has been taken out of here. It's probably one that's been taken down to the other place. But you can see how it's just been lifted out of there.
Okay, come back and stand in the road. He was at least 2 feet taller and probably about, yeah. So that's, okay, so that's just about exactly where he crossed, or one crossed. Right there. So, me and someone else and I were standing here, and we saw the movement right there in the trees, and he go back to the right a little bit. I'm sorry, go forward. A little bit more.
This way, wasn't it?
Yeah. Go back a little bit more. About right there is where we saw the body. And then he just shot across the road. But he was much taller than Jim, much wider than Jim.
Because there's this branch broke that was right up there. But he could have gone straight right in, right through there. Or was it down a little bit? Because this is a clear, you got some movement through here.
And that branch is broke on that.
Yeah.
Well, he shot through there because you could see his body as it kept going. You saw the mass as it kept going into the trees.
He wouldn't have left a print on this. Solid. Straight off.
Hey, we're not alone. We're not alone.
You have some disturbance here.
So lean your left foot out into the roadway and kind of look at us, but turn your body more. Yeah. Yeah, you're not even that build. We'd have to do it at night to get the actual comparison, but.
Right.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So y'all were sitting in the ATV back there where that one's parked. At the time, Jim was hearing the movement over here. If we judge about the time frame while we were standing there, that would make sense that
That was right at that time.
he got about right here and stepped out into the road and then stepped back.
Because he's watching us, making his way, and was also watching you guys.
Yeah. So that was about 30 steps. Hey, Native Oklahoma Bigfoot Research Organization. We're live in southeast Oklahoma. We have Ryan, which you can't see. He's behind the camera. We have Jim. And we have folks here on some private property in southeast Oklahoma. We're going to be doing some storytelling. So Ryan will watch for the questions. To answer your question, some of our guys do. When I was working the Texas site, the first probably 6 months, I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff was happening. So another person involved in the organization had a person that was funding it, and they sent me cameras, they sent me night vision, they sent me all kinds of gear. All of a sudden, what was going on just kind of stopped. I mean, there was things going on, but not like it was. Not they were just, look out of the tree, you'd see them in the daytime. It just kind of stopped. So I had a friend that introduced me to a tribal elder, and I was talking to him about it to him one day. I said, he goes, well, what are you doing different? I said, well, I'm not really doing anything different. He goes, well, you got to be doing something that's changed, that made things change. And I said, we put some cameras up, and I carry a Sony, and he goes, put it away. So the day I stopped, I left it in the truck, I was not carrying it anymore, and we went and took the cameras down. it changed. So that was in 2008. I don't carry nothing into the woods. I don't carry anything. Right.
You know, there's just something about.
Well, you are looking for something that does not belong. And okay, you know, Bigfoot does belong in the woods, but you're looking for something that does not belong. What belongs in the woods? Trees, rocks, grass.
Yeah.
You know, deer is an object that don't belong in the woods because it's an object that, you know. So you're looking for something that don't belong. So obviously you're looking for something that's man-shaped. But half the time, a lot of people are looking. They're looking for, you know, something big and hairy.
Yeah.
Well, 9 times out of 10, they're not standing out there in the open. So you're either looking for that, you know, you got that tree, and every now and then what you're looking for is you can see the head go. Because, you know, all of a sudden you just had to turn and look back over there, and he's like, oh crap. And he just kind of leans back behind the tree. So they have something to judge that on because they've seen, like people send videos. You know, what do you think about this video? Because they walk a specific way, they move a specific way, and they have I don't know what you want to call it. They have something about them that you can't mimic. I mean, because a guy in a suit that tries to mimic something, it's unnatural. Because that's something, that's what they wear.
It's just not right.
Right. So a lot of people try to fake things, but at the same time, when people said they say what they saw, our guys and gals know exactly because they've seen it enough, and they know that's exactly what happens or goes on. So we, one of our other guys, Tim, we were at this property over near Colgate, and we were out in the pasture on our four-wheelers, and it was a fairly good moon. You could see really well. And we were looking back towards the dam, and there's a pretty good sized lake, kind of pond, lake-ish thing.
It's water retention.
Water retention, yeah, it's a pretty good size. And we're looking back over, and I said, dude, look at that cow. And it was a big old white cow cutting across of it. And about the time it started to stand up, Tim goes, I don't think that's a cow. He stood up on he stood up from all up on the twos and just walked like a man, and the dude he was huge.
Yeah.
Because Tim's cousin saw it like a couple months later. Thought it was a tree. We were back by the barn. We just got through riding, and we were back by the gate that goes in to where the barn's at. And the light at the house shines, so it gives a little bit of a light, but once you get past, it goes around the trees, it gets all dark over here in a little pasture. And so we're standing there, well, his cousin walks off, and we notice he walks over there right where it starts to get, right almost like where the light stops and gets dark. He just stops. We're like sitting there and we're talking, and Tim goes, what's he doing? He's like leaning, takes his hat off and starts scratching his head, leans and turns around and starts walking back towards us. And by his body, you know, demeanor and, you know, something happened, and he walked right past us. We're like, hey, what's up? He just went through the gate and went on back up to the barn. Like, dude, what? So when he was standing down there, because when you look back this way, there's a big old huge cedar, and there's actually 2 cedars right there. And they're fairly tall. Well, he walks down there and stands. He's like looking, and he kind of looks. He kind of looks back again, and he sees 3 cedar trees, but the 3rd cedar tree's kind of the moonlight's. He's like, that's a white tree. What in the? And then all of a sudden he saw the white tree just turn, and the arms go like this as it turned to walk back down towards the creek.
Yeah.
And he wasn't probably. And we went back. You know, we went back and looked and checked him. He probably wasn't 20 feet away from it.